There's a silent power operating in you right this exact moment. It's not in your muscles, not in your bank account, and it's definitely not waiting for luck or connections. This power is in your mind, specifically in the words you repeat to yourself when you wake up. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying the wealthiest and most successful people of his time, and he discovered something that changed everything. Your morning thoughts aren't just thoughts, they're instructions. Instructions your subconscious follows with absolute precision. While most people wake up and immediately drown in worry, doubt, and fear, a small group of individuals learned to weaponize their first waking moments. They understood that the battle for your entire day, your entire life, is won or lost in the first 30 minutes after you open your eyes. Think about it. What's the first thing that crosses your mind when you wake up? Is it excitement and possibility? Or is it dread and obligation? Because that initial thought sets the tone for everything that follows. Hill called it autosuggestion, the bridge between your conscious desire and your subconscious reality. When you repeat an idea with emotional intensity, over and over, that idea gets planted in your subconscious, and whatever lives in your subconscious eventually manifests in your life. This isn't wishful thinking or new age fantasy. This is the exact system used by Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, and every titan of industry Hill studied. They didn't just stumble into success, they programmed their minds for it every single morning. And today you're going to learn the exact 7 phrases they used, the exact words that rewired their brains, activated their faith, and directed them straight to the top. Now, before we dive deep into these 7 life-changing affirmations, I need you to do something. Drop a comment right now and tell me which side of the world you're watching this from. And then subscribe to this channel, because what you're about to discover will separate you from 99% of people who just consume content and never take action. Hill didn't just talk about affirmations, he understood their true purpose, reprogramming the subconscious. Your mind acts according to what it believes, not what you desire. That's the brutal truth most people never accept. You can want success all you want, but if deep down you believe you're not worthy of it, your subconscious will sabotage every opportunity that comes your way. It'll make you hesitate when you should act. It'll fill you with doubt when you should have certainty. It'll paralyze you with fear when you should be moving forward. This is why most people live trapped in invisible cages they built themselves. Hill discovered that the subconscious mind cannot tell the difference between a real experience and one vividly imagined with emotion. This is critical. When you repeat an affirmation with genuine feeling, with conviction, with intensity, your subconscious accepts it as truth. And once it accepts something as truth, it begins to reorganize your entire reality to match that truth. Your brain starts noticing opportunities it previously ignored. Your body starts taking actions it previously avoided. Your energy starts attracting people and circumstances it previously repelled. This is the real secret behind every rags to riches story you've ever heard. These people didn't have special advantages. They had disciplined minds. They controlled what they fed their subconscious every single day. But here's where most people fail. They repeat affirmations mechanically, without emotion, without belief, like they're reading a grocery list, and then they wonder why nothing changes. Hill was crystal clear about this. Affirmations must be repeated with intention, emotion, and conviction. Not just words floating in the air, but declarations that shake your soul. When you say something and feel it in every cell of your body, when your heart races and your spine tingles, that's when the magic happens. That's when the subconscious sits up and listens. That's when transformation begins. Hill said it perfectly. You can achieve anything your mind is capable of conceiving and believing, but to believe it, you must first declare it. This is the missing link for millions of people who know what they want but never get it. They conceive it in their minds, but they never declare it with power. They never command their subconscious to make it real. So today, you're going to learn 7 affirmations built with the exact principles Hill used. These aren't random positive thoughts. These are precision tools designed to demolish limiting beliefs, activate your inner power, and align you with forces greater than yourself. Repeat them every day, and watch as your mind, your faith and your results begin to transform in ways that will shock you. The first affirmation is a declaration that most people are too afraid to make because they've been conditioned to believe they don't deserve it. But you're about to break that conditioning right now. I have the divine right to be prosperous, happy, and abundant. Read that again, slowly. Let it sink in. This isn't just a wish or a hope. This is a decree, a powerful reminder of what you really are. You weren't put on this earth to survive, scraping by, living paycheck to paycheck, suffocating under stress and limitation. You were put here to manifest, to expand, to grow, to thrive. Abundance isn't a privilege reserved for a lucky few. It's a spiritual right that already lives inside you. But here's the problem. Most people have been programmed since childhood to believe the opposite. They've been told that money is scarce, that success requires sacrifice, that prosperity is somehow unspiritual or selfish. These lies have been embedded so deeply that people feel guilty for wanting more. They apologize for their ambitions. They shrink themselves to fit into other people's small expectations. Hill taught that poverty is a mental condition. Nobody is born limited. But many trap themselves in thoughts of scarcity, doubt, and lack. These thoughts become beliefs. These beliefs become actions. And these actions create a life of limitation. When you repeat this affirmation with force, you're telling the universe, I recognize my value. I recognize my origin. I recognize that I deserve the best. The phrase divine right connects directly with your spiritual origin. This isn't arrogance. This is alignment with the greater plan that God has for you. You weren't made to live in fear. You were made to live with purpose, with freedom, with fullness. Think about the greatest achievements in human history. The people who built empires, who created masterpieces, who changed the world. They all had one thing in common. They believed they deserved it. They didn't wait for permission. They didn't ask if it was okay. They simply knew, deep in their souls, that they had every right to claim the life they desired. And so they did. This affirmation does something profound to your psychology. It shifts you from a state of asking to a state of claiming, from begging to demanding, from hoping to knowing. When you declare that you have the divine right to prosperity, your entire energy changes. You stop tolerating mediocrity. You stop accepting less than your worth. You start showing up differently in every area of your life. People feel it. Opportunities sense it. The universe responds to it. But you must say it with your soul, not just your mouth. Feel it in your chest. Let it vibrate through your entire being. Say it when you wake up, before your mind gets contaminated with doubt and distraction. Say it when you look in the mirror and see the person you're becoming. Say it when fear tries to convince you that you should settle, because when your mind believes you deserve it, your reality starts creating it. This isn't magic. This is how the mind works. Your beliefs shape your perception. Your perception shapes your decisions. Your decisions shape your actions, and your actions shape your life. Change the belief at the root, and everything else changes automatically. Hill studied hundreds of successful people, and he found that every single one of them had an unshakable belief in their right to success. They didn't hope they might succeed. They knew they would. And that knowing gave them courage when others cowered, persistence when others quit, and vision when others were blind. So engrave this in your interior. I have the divine right to be prosperous, happy, and abundant. Say it every morning, not just with your mouth, but with your soul. And watch as doors that were locked suddenly swing open. Watch as people who ignored you suddenly pay attention. Watch as opportunities that seemed impossible suddenly become inevitable. But this first affirmation is just the foundation. Because prosperity means nothing if you don't have the inner resources to handle it. That's where the second affirmation comes in, and it's going to challenge everything you've been taught about where your power really comes from. Everything I need is already within me. Stop right there. Read that sentence again and let it shatter every excuse you've been carrying. You don't need the world to approve of you. You don't need someone to give you permission to move forward. And you definitely don't need to wait until you feel ready, because what you truly need already lives inside you. This is an affirmation of inner power, a declaration that dissolves dependency, doubt, and fear. For too long, You've been looking in the wrong direction. You've been searching for validation outside yourself. You've been waiting for the perfect mentor, the perfect opportunity, the perfect moment. And while you've been waiting, life has been passing you by. Hill explained it this way: the person who knows what they want already has half the journey completed. When you repeat this phrase every day, you're training your mind to stop seeking outside and start recognizing that the source is inside. Not out there, not in other people, not in success as society sells it, but in your faith, your will, your ability to decide. And when you understand this, everything changes. You stop begging for opportunities and start creating opportunities. You stop asking if you can and start declaring that you will. This affirmation isn't arrogance. It's spiritual recognition. God doesn't place a dream in your mind without also giving you the seed of capability to achieve it. Think about every great innovation, every breakthrough, every impossible achievement in human history. They all started with someone who had nothing but an idea and the conviction that they could make it real. They didn't have all the resources. They didn't have all the answers. They didn't have proof it would work. But they had something far more valuable. They had faith in their inner capacity. Edison didn't need someone to teach him how to invent the light bulb. He needed to trust his own mind enough to fail 10,000 times and keep going. Ford didn't need permission to revolutionize the automobile industry. He needed to believe that his vision was possible, even when everyone told him he was crazy. Disney didn't need investors to believe in his theme park dream. He needed to believe in it so powerfully that his conviction eventually convinced others. What does this tell you? It tells you that the external world responds to your internal certainty. When you doubt yourself, people doubt you. When you hesitate, opportunities hesitate. But when you move with absolute conviction that you already have everything you need, the universe has no choice but to align with that energy. This is the law Hill discovered. Your outer world is a mirror of your inner world. And the fastest way to change what's outside is to change what's inside. This affirmation trains you to become self-reliant in the deepest sense. Not in the "I don't need anybody's" sense, but in the "I don't need anybody to complete me" sense. There's a massive difference. One is isolation, the other is empowerment. When you repeat, "Everything I need is already within me," you're not rejecting help or collaboration. You're rejecting the victim mentality that says you're powerless without external rescue. You're rejecting the limiting belief that you're incomplete until someone or something fixes you. You're stepping into your full identity as a complete, capable, divinely equipped human being. And although you may doubt sometimes, although you may not see the resources immediately, repeat this truth with a firm heart, because doubt is just a habit, and habits can be broken. Fear is just a story, and stories can be rewritten. Limitation is just a perspective, and perspectives can be shifted. Every time you feel overwhelmed by a challenge, come back to this affirmation. Every time you feel like you're not enough, come back to this truth. Every time the world tries to convince you that you need something outside yourself to be whole, stand firm and declare, "Everything I need is already within me." Make it your morning mantra. Make it your battle cry, and your world will begin to align with that inner truth. But inner power without alignment is like a ship without a compass. You might have the engine, but you need direction. That's what the third affirmation provides. I am in perfect harmony with the energy of God and the universe. Most people live disconnected. They feel alone, lost, like they're walking without guidance. But you're not alone. You never have been. What happens is that you've forgotten your most powerful connection, the connection with the source. Hill taught that a mind aligned with a higher cause is an invincible mind, and that alignment doesn't come by luck. It comes through inner harmony. When you repeat this affirmation every morning, you're remembering that you're part of a perfect order, that you're sustained by a divine force, that everything happening has a purpose, and that you're not separated from the universe. You're part of the same plan. To say, "I am in perfect harmony with the energy of God and the universe," is much more than a pretty phrase. It's a vibrational alignment. It's returning to center, because when your soul is at peace, your mind clears. When your mind clears, your decisions illuminate. And when your decisions illuminate, the path opens. This is where most people get stuck. They're constantly fighting against life. They're resisting, complaining, forcing, pushing against closed doors until their knuckles bleed. And they wonder why nothing works. Here's why. They're out of alignment. They're operating from ego, from fear, from desperation. And those frequencies attract more struggle, more chaos, more resistance. But when you align with the energy of God and the universe, you step into flow. You stop swimming against the current and start moving with it. You stop trying to control everything and start trusting the process. You stop demanding specific outcomes and start surrendering to divine timing. This doesn't mean you become passive. It means you become powerful in a different way. You take inspired action instead of desperate action. You move with confidence instead of anxiety. You trust that what's meant for you will find you, and what's not meant for you will fall away. Hill studied the most successful people on earth, and he found that all of them had a spiritual practice, not necessarily religious, but spiritual. They understood that they were channels for something greater than themselves. They didn't see themselves as isolated individuals fighting alone. They saw themselves as instruments of a higher intelligence, a cosmic force that was always working in their favor. When you wake up and declare this affirmation, you're plugging into that same source. You're saying, I trust the process, I trust the timing, I trust that I'm exactly where I need to be, learning exactly what I need to learn, becoming exactly who I need to become. This removes the crushing burden of trying to figure everything out on your own. It removes the anxiety of thinking you have to force results. It removes the fear that you're going to miss your chance. Because when you're in harmony with God and the universe, you understand that there are no missed chances. There are only lessons and redirections guiding you toward your ultimate destination. Repeat this affirmation with reverence. Let it calm your nervous system. Let it quiet the racing thoughts. Let it remind you that you're held, you're guided, you're loved by a force infinitely more intelligent than your limited human perspective. And watch as synchronicities start appearing. Watch as the right people show up at the right time. Watch as solutions emerge from nowhere. This is what alignment feels like. But alignment without action is just daydreaming. And that's where the fourth affirmation becomes absolutely critical. I act today with discipline, courage, and focus. Faith without action is just illusion. Hill said it with brutal clarity. Knowledge doesn't become power until it's organized and directed toward action. Many people know what they want, but very few are willing to pay the price. That's why this affirmation is so powerful, because it reminds you that every day is a decision, an opportunity, a battlefield where the real you is forged. When you repeat, I act today with discipline, courage, and focus, you're training your mind to move even when there's no motivation, even when fear appears, even when your body says, I can't. This is the difference between dreamers and achievers. Dreamers think about what they want. Achievers do what's necessary to get it. Dreamers wait for inspiration. Achievers create momentum through discipline. Dreamers hope things will work out. Achievers make things work out. Discipline is doing what you know you must do even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up at 5 a.m. when your bed is warm and your body is tired. It's showing up to work on your goals when nobody's watching and nobody cares. It's saying no to distractions, temptations, and comfort when they try to pull you off course. Discipline is the bridge between goals and accomplishment. Without it, you're just fantasizing. Courage is moving forward with fear, not without it. Every successful person Hill studied was terrified at some point. They doubted themselves. They faced rejection. They stared at failure. But they didn't let fear make the final decision. They felt the fear and moved anyway. They heard the doubt and acted anyway. They saw the obstacles and persisted anyway. This is courage, not the absence of fear, but the decision that something else matters more. Focus is knowing what you want and not getting distracted by what doesn't matter. In a world designed to scatter your attention, focus is a superpower. It's the ability to say, this is my priority. Everything else is noise. It's working on one goal until it's done instead of starting 10 and finishing none. It's protecting your mental energy like your life depends on it, because it does. These three forces combined make you unstoppable. They turn you into a mental storm that advances without asking permission. You become the person who others look at and wonder, how do they do it? Where do they get that drive? And the answer is simple. You decided. You made a daily commitment. You repeated this affirmation until it became your identity. Don't repeat this phrase as a spectator. Repeat it as a warrior, as someone who's done waiting. Because if you act today, tomorrow won't recognize you and your past won't either. But action without the right mindset is just busy work. That's why the fifth affirmation is about taking control of the most powerful force in your life. My thoughts create my reality. I choose to think big. Your external world is nothing more than a reflection of your internal world. What you live is the echo of what you think. Hill left no room for doubt. You become what you think about most of the time. This affirmation isn't a motivational cliché. It's a universal law. What you hold in your mind, you eventually see in your life. This is the most liberating and most terrifying truth you'll ever accept. Liberating because it means you have total control. Terrifying because it means you have total responsibility. You can't blame your circumstances anymore. You can't blame your past. You can't blame other people. Your life is the sum total of your dominant thoughts. When you repeat, my thoughts create my reality, I choose to think big. You're activating the creative power of your mind. You're stopping thinking in limits and starting to think in possibilities. Think about it. Every building, every business, every invention, every achievement in human history started as a thought. Someone imagined it first. Someone conceived it in their mind before it existed in reality. The airplane was a thought before it was a machine. The internet was a thought before it was a network. Your future success is a thought right now, waiting for you to give it energy, focus, and belief. Thinking big isn't arrogance, it's active faith. It's the decision not to settle for a small life when you have within you the potential for something extraordinary. Most people think small because they're afraid. Afraid of failing, afraid of judgment, afraid of standing out. So they play it safe. They set tiny goals they know they can achieve, and they wonder why their life feels empty. But you're different. You're reading this because something inside you knows you're meant for more, and that knowing is trying to break through the layers of doubt, fear, and conditioning that have kept you small. Every time doubt visits you, respond with this affirmation. Every time fear tries to stop you, repeat it louder. Every time your mind wants to return to safety, shout it inside yourself. I choose to think big, because if your thoughts are big, your actions will be big, and if your actions are big, your results will have no ceiling. Hill discovered that successful people guard their thoughts like they guard their money. They don't let negativity rent space in their minds. They don't entertain limiting beliefs. They don't allow mediocre thinking to contaminate their vision. They consciously choose thoughts that serve their goals, and they reject thoughts that don't. This is mental discipline at the highest level. But here's what most people don't understand. Your thoughts are not random. They're habitual. You've been thinking the same thoughts for so long that they've become automatic. And those automatic thoughts have created your current reality. If you want a different reality, you need different thoughts. And that starts with a conscious decision every single morning to think big, to think bold, to think beyond your current limitations. Write this affirmation where you'll see it. Say it out loud with conviction. Feel it in your bones. And watch as your mind begins to expand, as your vision begins to clarify, as your life begins to reflect the magnitude of your thoughts. Because the size of your thoughts determines the size of your life. But even big thoughts need a strong foundation. And that's what the sixth affirmation provides. I am destined to achieve great things. Greatness lives in me. You're not just another person. You weren't created randomly. You're not here just to exist, pay bills, and die. You're here to leave a mark. This affirmation awakens your true identity, the one that often gets buried by doubts, by criticism, by fear. Hill said, within every adversity is a seed of equivalent benefit, and that seed is your greatness. When you repeat with firmness, I am destined to achieve great things, greatness lives in me, you're activating your original design, you're rejecting mediocrity, you're reminding the universe who you are and what you came to do. Because greatness isn't fame, it's not empty wealth, It's not inflated ego. Greatness is living with purpose, with character, with integrity. Greatness is deciding that your life will be a story that inspires, not a statistic that's forgotten. And if you don't tell yourself this, who's going to do it for you? Your family, your friends, society. They're all too busy projecting their own limitations onto you. They'll tell you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, to stop dreaming so big. And if you listen to them, you'll live their small life, not yours. You have something unique to offer the world, but nobody's going to see it if you don't recognize it first. Think about every person you admire, every leader, every artist, every innovator who changed the game. They all had one thing in common. They believed in their greatness before anyone else did. They saw potential in themselves that others couldn't see. They held onto a vision when everyone told them to let go, and they kept moving forward until the world had no choice but to acknowledge what they knew all along. This is the power of self-belief. Not arrogance, not delusion, but genuine, unshakable conviction in your divine purpose. Hill spent decades studying greatness, and he concluded that it's not reserved for a select few. It's available to anyone willing to claim it, anyone willing to do the work, anyone willing to become the person their greatness requires. When you repeat this affirmation, you're not just saying words, you're making a commitment. You're declaring war on average. You're refusing to shrink yourself to fit into other people's comfort zones. You're stepping into the fullness of who you were created to be. And yes, people will be uncomfortable with your growth. They'll try to pull you back down. They'll question your changes. They'll mock your ambitions, let them, because their discomfort is proof that you're expanding beyond the limits they've accepted for themselves, and that expansion is exactly what the world needs. Repeat this truth every day. Greatness lives in me, and make every step you take an affirmation in action. But greatness requires courage, and courage requires something even more fundamental. Every day my faith is stronger than my fear. Everyone feels fear. The bravest person also doubts. But there's a force that can crush fear without fighting it. Faith. Hill wrote an entire book about this called Outwitting the Devil. In it, he revealed how fear is the most powerful weapon of the invisible enemy, and how the only way to defeat it is by strengthening faith. When you repeat every day, "My faith is stronger than my fear," you're training your spirit to choose light even in darkness. You're saying, "I don't know how, but I know it's possible. I don't have all the answers, but I have clarity to take the next step. Maybe I don't trust the circumstances, but I trust God." This affirmation doesn't eliminate fear. It transforms it into fuel. Faith isn't the absence of terror. It's walking with it. It's moving forward knowing you're not alone, that the force guiding you is greater than any obstacle. Think about every impossible achievement in history. The person who achieved it was terrified. They had every reason to quit, every logical argument to give up, but they had something that defied logic, faith. Faith that it could be done. Faith that they were chosen for this task. Faith that failure wasn't final. And that faith carried them through moments when nothing else could. This is what separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. Not talent, not luck, not connections. Faith. Most people let fear make their decisions. They see the obstacle and turn back. They hear the doubt and quit. They feel the uncertainty and freeze. And then they wonder why their life never changes. But you're not most people. You're someone who's learning to let faith drive and fear ride in the back seat. Fear will always be there. It's part of being human, but it doesn't get to steer. It doesn't get to choose your direction. It doesn't get to determine your destination. Don't repeat this only when everything's going well. Repeat it especially when everything's shaking. When the ground beneath you feels unstable. When you can't see 3 feet ahead. When your mind is screaming at you to retreat. That's when you need this affirmation most. Every day my faith is stronger than my fear. Say it until you believe it. Believe it until you live it. And watch as fear loses its power and you recover yours. Because the moment faith becomes stronger than fear, you become unstoppable. You become someone who doesn't wait for perfect conditions. You become someone who creates conditions. You become someone who doesn't hope for change. You become someone who is the change. Now you know them. 7 affirmations that aren't just words, they're keys. keys that open the door to a new mentality, to a new life. These 7 phrases are your new starting point. Don't underestimate what you just did. You just planted powerful seeds in your mind, and if you water them every day with faith, discipline, and action, you're going to harvest results that even you can't imagine. Success isn't a coincidence, it's a daily decision, and you just made it. Repeating these affirmations isn't a trend, it's a spiritual practice. It's training your mind to stop listening to the voice of fear and start listening to the voice of God in your interior. Because there's no force more powerful than a mind aligned with its purpose. Remember this. Don't leave without applying this, because knowing it doesn't change your life, using it does. This channel isn't for spectators, it's for destiny creators. If this message resonated with you, subscribe, share this with someone who needs it, and leave me in the comments which of the 7 affirmations you're going to repeat this week. Here, every word has intention, and every message has a mission to remind you that you have the power. Now tell me, what is your definite chief aim? Write it down in the comments and truly commit to your transformation. If this video sparked something in you, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more content that will elevate your mindset. Remember, thoughts become things. Choose the good ones. See you in the next video. Now go out there and conquer.